Welcome back, Peace Reflection. Welcome back to the Earth Realm. We made it. We made it. See, we think that how you get this out? Okay. We think that when we go to sleep, that we're gonna get right back on up, but no, that's not true. So you should be very thankful.
Live every day to the fullest.
That you are back again to get it right. You know what I'm saying? And right now what I'm doing is prepping for today. Prepping for the family, prepping lunch, you know, getting some of our birth. Yes, go ahead. Yes, that's why right there. Yeah, everybody coming in, getting their day started. You know, I got some tea out. And I got some cacao. You can make some really good hot chocolate with that vegan hot chocolate. And then once the ladies come into the kitchen, you know, get their stuff together, we're going to cut some fruit up. Because, you know, we stick to the B6 diet. And the first meal that you should have in the AM once you rise is fruit, liquids, hot tea, no pancakes, no cereal, bacon and eggs and omelets and all that crap. You want to hydrate yourself because you want to on a fast, an 8-hour fast, depending on how long you slept. So you want to rehydrate yourself, okay? So what I'm doing right now is about to prepare me and my direct some hot chocolate. And what I do is, yeah, he has it over there.
There you go.
And it's really simple. You just get, this is like pure cacao, because where I am in the tropics, they got the trees here. They just pick it, the pod from the tree, you know, and do whatever they do. And there's a place right up the road, way up the road, where we can get fresh cacao, and it's really delicious. And so I like to make some hot cocoa. The baby's really been enjoying this lately, so that's what I've been drinking, and it's very soothing. And then what I'm going to do? Look, you want to move because this hot water might drip. Master Teacher Dora is like right here. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, citrus juice.
Oh yeah, and he's about to make us some fresh orange juice. So yes, and we have plenty of citrus trees in our yard. Like right now, I think it's about to be citrus season in the tropics. And you want this? You want that? It's about to be It's about to be citrus season in the tropics. So we got all kind of grapefruit trees and orange trees. And the thing that I like about the oranges here is that they're green. They're green on the outside. I never seen that because, you know, in Babylon, the oranges are orange. And then they're even more orange inside. But they actually are super duper sweet. These oranges here are semi-sweet, but a little sour. So, because they're natural. Not everything in nature is super duper sweet because it's not processed, but I think a lot of the fruit that we eat, and there's a little dash of sugar. You don't even want to put a lot of sugar in it. We don't really like a lot of sugar. Here you go. And if there's any more tea back there, if that's all the tea, there might be another box. There's another box back there if that's not enough. But you're not getting tea, so I guess I'm not talking to you. Yes. I'm preparing that. Let's see. A little dash of sweet almond milk. And voila, there you go. You have some fresh cocoa. And you can get this at the store in wherever you are. Just some fresh cacao. And then they also have carob. That's just like cacao. It's like they're beans. They're beans that grow on a tree, and they taste like chocolate. Okay, come on. How awesome is nature? And you just, you know, that's it. You don't have to have cow milk. You don't have to have processed chocolate. Just pure chocolate, and it's really good for you. That is so good. So I'm gonna leave that to the side for him. And so I'll be right back. I'm gonna get me a cutting board. Okay. So like I said, today I wanted to get started. So what we're having for our solar new meal is one of our best recipes that actually Chiefs had created. It is avocado pesto pasta. Because pesto is usually made from herbs, but a lot of times to get that creaminess, they use milk, but we use avocado and different herbs and things like that. So we're gonna make that today. But what I wanted to do was go ahead and get the vegetables prepped, because we still like to eat it with vegetables to make it more hearty. Do you mind pushing that fan this way so I can get a little circulation? So I'm going to cut up purple onion. Yeah, like that. I'm thankful.
Got these from the tree.
Oh, show them. You just can't be like, bam, and then leave. You gotta show them what you got.
Well, actually, these were on the ground already.
Really? So they're ready.
It's rising when I went outside right now. So I'm about to mix these with some oranges and make some juice.
The baby loves fruit juices. When I make fruit juices or any fruit smoothie, the baby loves that. Since being pregnant, I really, because I got to stay hydrated. But one thing the baby loves, the reason why I know the baby loves, because he told me. No, the reason why I know the baby loves it, because every time I drink it, he go crazy in my belly. But it's not a weird crazy. He just moves, and I can tell that he really enjoys it. It's different feelings that I get that I know, okay, the baby didn't like that, or okay, give the baby more of that, So now I got the bell peppers, and I like to do an array of bell peppers. I got green, orange, and red. And what I'll probably do is just chop these up, and they can serve it with their pasta. Oh, you want to show them?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to show them how many seeds there is in these grapefruits.
Under your teeth. Oh, wow.
A lot of seeds in there. So they're very fertile. So you're supposed to eat fruit with seeds. That's how fruit's supposed to be. Lots of seeds.
What you mean it's supposed to have seeds? Because at the grocery store, they have seedless fruit, so...
Yeah, because that's GMO, because they modified that fruit to not bear seed. But anything in nature has a capacity to be able to reproduce. And if you eat fruit that can't reproduce, then what is that saying about you if you are what you eat?
Look at that. Look at all them seeds. I've never seen that many seeds in a grapefruit.
Yeah, it's
you want your cocoa? You might need to add a little more sugar. I just put a dash of sugar.
I don't like it that.
Yeah, I don't like it that sweet too. And then what I'm going to also add, which is our favorite, and you should add this as much as you can in your meals, is mushrooms. Now, where we live, they don't have the portobello mushrooms, because I like to eat food with color, with melanin. You know what I mean? I like to eat what I am. And so really what I can only find here is white mushrooms, but we make it work. But mushrooms make anything against that meaty texture that you are trying to move away from it. Plus, mushrooms make any meal really good. So I'm also going to put mushrooms in, with that. And the way that I cook the mushrooms, I saute the mushrooms by itself, and I put a little liquid amino acids in it to give it this nice teriyaki taste, and season it up, and then add it to the pasta. It's really, really good. Okay. So now let's get started. So I just wanted today's topic, I wanted to talk about my experience living in a tribe, because I am part of the Carbonation Nation. You know what I mean? We building a tribe and building our own kingdom. We have created a whole new way of life and being. And really, that's how it should be. You want me to do this? Ask yourself, in the family that you are in right now, does everyone, have everything in common? Do y'all all live the same way of life? Are you living in the same house? Or is your family, do you live in this house, in this city, in that state, in that country? And you got to ask yourself, well, why is that? And the reason why we do anything is because we have been programmed to believe that's what we should do and what is normal. But the one thing that we have been programmed to believe that is normal is going against nature. And seeing in nature, families, tribes, they stick together like animals. They stick together once they create a family. But for some reason, the human being, once we get a certain age, they have taught us you got to leave the household at 18 or 19 and you got to go off and figure it out on your own and start your own family or whatever. And so that's just not the case. That now as long as you and your family are on the same frequency, why would you leave your family? Okay. So I like to just share my experience, living in a tribe, but also we like to use the word cult. And what is the word cult? Cult is an organization of like minds on the same frequency. So when we think of cult, we think of something bad. We think of, we get a bad connotation to it. But what you are in right now in Babylon is a cult. It's a way of being. Because even though you think you have your own mind, which you do have your own mind, but your thoughts are being controlled, okay, on the frequency that you are on in the cult, the organization that you are in. Your thoughts, the way that you think is being controlled. Now your mind, they can't control your mind because your mind is the vehicle, but they can control this is what the Honorable Chief Nature Boy taught us, that your mind, look at your mind as a car, and then look at the thoughts you're having as the road, as the direction that you're going into. And see, and being in Babylon and being in that cult, they control you to believe that you are who you are, that you're supposed to be doing what you were doing. So that's the cult that you are in. That's why you do everything that you do. And even though you think you're doing your own thing, you're really not, because they control your food, they control your water, they control when you get up, when you go to sleep. They control everything. They control how you live, where you live. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at someone like me being in the cult of nature, being in the cult of carbonation, you look at me as being brainwashed or being controlled. And yes, I have been brainwashed. My brain has been washed away from the old programming, from the manipulation of who my actual ego is. It has been washed away. So now I'm becoming my true self, my higher self. So that's what we say when we're being brainwashed. We no longer are under that old programming of Babylon. And now I'm in a controlled environment that will allow me to thrive and truly be the human being that I am, and coming into the I am status that I can get to. Because in Babylon, they distract you from getting to your higher self. There's always something that's enticing you. But see, in this environment here, it's controlled to where I can eat the foods I'm supposed to eat, sleep the way I'm supposed to sleep, be the way that I'm supposed to be. The only way that can happen to get to your higher self, you have to be in a closed environment. And so since being in a tribe, I have become my greater self, and I continue to become my greater self. And now you see me, I'm about to have a baby. Like, I wouldn't have done that in Babylon. I would have been so focused on thinking I had to work a job and had to pay bills and had to take care of myself. Work a job to pay for a car that is not mine, to pay for an apartment that is not mine, to live this lifestyle that is not real, to keep up with this alter ego that I have created. I wasn't truly being, a human being. I wasn't truly being a woman. I was really programmed to be a man in their society, a battery in their society. And so now that I don't have to worry about that, I don't have to worry about bills, I don't have to worry about any of that, instead of just being a woman, being a virtuous woman, coming into that, things have really opened up for me. Because right now, if I was in Babylon, I would be at work sitting in a cubicle, probably freaking annoyed because I don't want to be there. But now I'm in the kitchen where a woman is supposed to be, preparing the meals early like a woman is supposed to. Like, a woman's supposed to be the first person up in their family, because she's the foundation to make sure the family eat, making sure they're being taken care of, like, in a nurturing way, and the men in your tribe, they handle everything else and make sure everything is running smoothly and everything is in structure and order, so I make sure I get up early, get myself pretty, and get the food going, and then I don't have to rush. And so after solar noon, like after we finish eating, we have the rest of the day to just do whatever we want, you know what I mean? Because we got everything done at an efficient time, So the experience that I had with my Babylon family, right now I'm just chopping the bell pepper. And welcome everybody to the room. I see y'all. Like I said, welcome everyone. I see you in the room. I've had date sugar before. They don't have that here. They have pure cane sugar, or they have this other sugar. Okay, but yeah, because y'all can ask some questions later. But I wanted to give you my experience. So when I was in Babylon, like, I had a very close-knit family. Well, at least I thought I did. Because, we would meet on holidays and things like that. And then if you need anything, you could call them up. But we didn't live together. We didn't live under the same household. Like, once they got a certain age, or once they decided they found the person that they wanted to marry, they up and left and started their own life. But still, we called each other family. And here at Carbonation, what family is frequency. Who is on your frequency? So the family that I was in Babylon, we were not all on the same frequency. Everybody was doing their own thing, living their own life. So as a child, it was very confusing to me, because I had an idea of what I wanted to do with my life, but everybody around me was telling me, you need to go to college, you need to get a good job, don't depend on anyone. Well, as a young girl, I wanted to be like my Babylon grandmother. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have children. I wanted to do that. But then she was even telling me, no, don't be like me. Go out there and experience life and, do that. And that's exactly what I did. I experienced life, and I went to college, and I experienced life and figured out a lot of things when I was in college. And then after that, then I went out into the world and, had to experience a lot of the stuff that as a young woman, as a young lady, should have not experienced. But because I didn't get the proper guidance, I didn't have the proper masculine energy in my life to steer me away, I had to learn a lot about life. I had to go to hard knock school, and for me, I just don't think it's right. I feel like the woman, she's supposed to be protected by her masculine energy. You shouldn't just throw her out in the world and have her figure out, because trust me, she's going to meet people that's going to show her, and they're going to show her the wrong way. But thank goodness, because my astrological programming, and because the truth is in me, I stayed focused and I moved forward, and I did not let those obstacles get in my way. I did not let those challenges stop me from becoming to who you see now. So now, I have the experience, and now I can teach you the wisdom. So if you listen, you won't have to go through the same thing that I did. So I'm going to continue to share my stories and tell you my experience, and tell you what I learned from it, throughout, all of my downloads, that I do. So, in Babylon, they teach you that you need to go out and be on your own, but, you gotta look at the lingo that we use today, because, tribe is just your family. It's your soul family, right? It's just a family. But when you think of tribe, you thinking of people like in the jungle like us, or you thinking like what you see on TV, where it's like indigenous people. But a tribe is literally just your family, and family is frequency. And then you have the city, and that's really just the village. you know, or the colony, and then you have the state. No, I think the village is the colony, and then you have the. Dang it, I want to get this right because the Honorable Chief Nature Boy, he broke this down, but then you have the whole country, and that is the nation. You see what I'm saying? But the way that we use our words, it programs us to look at things in another way, because even though they have made you believe that you are independent, you're still under a doctrine. You're still under a nation. You're still within a colony. You're still within a tribe. So you still have to do things according to that group. You see what I'm saying? And so, being that you choose not to be in one that's more controlled and more that is in your control, you think that you're just free, but you're not. There's no what's the word? There is no free will. There's no free will. Don't let anybody tell you that you're free to do anything, because you're subjective. You're a slave to something. You're either going to be a slave to your lower self, or you're going to be a slave to your higher self. You choose, okay? Because I guarantee right now, if you chose to not pay your bills, you chose not to go to work, somebody's going to come after you, or somebody's going to take something from you. You know, try it. Let me know how it worked for you, okay? So, as a young lady, I went out into the world looking for myself. You know, and that's what we do as humans when we go out, when we date, when we're trying to find that soulmate. All we're doing is looking for ourselves. You know, looking for ourselves in another. So that's what I did. And I continue to find myself, you know, but found myself in pieces that was hindering me. But eventually, I let go of that no longer served me. You know, and just kept it moving. You know, because, you know, and when you are on your own, you have to fend for yourself. You know, you don't have nobody to depend on. And I know when I was in Babylon, you know, I had my own apartment. I lived in my own apartment, like by myself. You know, I got up, I went to work, I came home, ran errands, maybe worked out, and I was all by myself. And maybe occasionally I was in a relationship, but even with that relationship that I was in, they had their own apartment, they had their own way of doing things, their own way of life, and so then we would come together whenever we had time. So there was really no unity, there's really no organization. We was just moving like robots and doing what we think that we were supposed to do. So there was so much imbalance in how I was living my life. And then my Babylon family, my blood family, they were all spread out doing their own thing. And like I said, we would come together for holidays. And it was different because as I was evolving, as I was coming into the truth, you know, as I was starting to see the world for what it was, when I did go to my family, I started sticking out like a sore thumb. Like my Babylon family, I started sticking out like a sore thumb because I started seeing that the way we were eating was wrong. When I saw how the way that we were living our lives, there was something off about that. When I see how the government was manipulating everything and how what I was taught was not the truth, it started changing me. But then I still had to go around my Babylon family and act like I was normal. But they knew that there was something going on with me. And I have someone that wanted to explain what I was talking about. This is Warrior Solar.
Yes. I wanted to clarify real quick. A family is a tribe. Family is frequency. So your family would be your tribe. Yeah, so your family would be your tribe. Mm-hmm. And multiple families, multiple tribes would be a village, which some would call a city in Babylon. Mm-hmm. And multiple villages would be a state, which would be a colony. And that multiple colonies, multiple states, would be the nation. So that is, we're making carbonation. It's not limited to just the Ethereans. This is just our family. Mm-hmm. This is our frequency.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's what I was saying, that we use different words and we take the words out of connotation, or it gives us a whole nother way of looking at it. But just like how you broke it down, if they could look at it that way, I think they will be more selective about the nation that they're in, about the village that they're in.
Because you'll see how it weaves together. And, the Babylon mind kind of seems to separate it. But when we use our lingo, tribe, colony, nation, you start to see how it builds up. It's from the family. It starts with the family. So
yes,
what they've done in Babylon is broken up the family. And that's what we're bringing back together. Absolutely.
I am thankful. Yes, that's what I was saying. I got pregnancy brain. I'd be like, what am I trying to say? But yeah, so I wanted to get back to my story. It's just like what he had broke down about, family, like your tribe is your family. And so when I was around the family in Babylon, like I said, I started sticking out like a sore thumb because I started waking up. I started to see that, like, questioning everything that we were doing. Why are we doing this? Why are we eating this way? Why am I dressing this way? Is my body reacting this way? Why are you doing what you're doing? Who are you? I started questioning. When you get into that point in your life where you started questioning everything. You know what I mean? And so I realized that I started evolving from my Babylon family. Y'all hear that rooster? I started evolving away from them, but because of the attachment that we have with our families, I still stayed in an environment that was no longer conducive for me, and that is being, in my Babylon family. You see what I'm saying? I was no longer starting to think like them. But yeah, I still kept myself in that environment because I'm like, this is my family. You're supposed to stick with your family at all times. You know how they program you. Hey, reflection. Peace, reflection. Mama died.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, everybody. If you wanted to cut up a watermelon or anything or some fruits,
get some fruit on that.
I think mostly everybody got their tea and stuff.
I get some more cookies like that.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
What are we talking about today?
I'm talking about my experience living in a tribe, and just that, just talking about that, and so I started evolving, but I still stayed because of the attachment of the programming that, that I was, embedded with, that you stick with your family, you stick with your blood or whatever. That's your bloodline. You be with your family, And so I stayed knowing that I was different, and then they would make fun of me, especially when I started becoming vegan and oh, no. Well, cut it open and see if it's any good.
Oh, have a look at that.
Yeah, just go ahead and
give it to the chickens.
Yeah, give it to the chickens and the ducks. They'll eat that. She just showed me a busted watermelon. And so I started becoming vegan, and so when I would come around the family functions, they're having cookouts, eating meat and all kind of stuff, and I'm bringing salads and fruit and stuff, and everybody's making fun of me because it was just okay, but then when they ate the salad and ate the dressings that I made, they were eating more of my food than they were eating of their food. I remember that one time we had a cookout, like a little family get together, and I had brought some salads, some soups and stuff that I wanted to eat, and they ate most of my food, but still, I still wasn't resonating with how they were living their life. And then just the things that I started, researching, it started contradicting what they taught me. So, it started causing a little conflict, and I really felt out of place, and I didn't really know what to do because, this was my family. But eventually, I just started isolating myself. I naturally started isolating myself, but not the way that we teach in carbonation. I started isolating myself because I felt alone, and I felt like, I was trapped and I didn't know what to do. And so a lot of times I would just be by myself, looking for a knife. Oh, okay. We were sitting and I started feeling alone because I feel like no one understood me. And even though I had some people, some friends that kind of knew what I was talking about, they kind of didn't. They just was just like, they was just trying to be supportive, but they were still living the lifestyle that they were living, you know, as I was transitioning, you know. And so, like, eventually I just kept going back to sleep because I wanted to fit in. I just, you know, I was just like, obviously, you know, this isn't working for me because I'm by myself. You know, people making fun of me, and I'm just going to just go back to sleep so I can just, you know, fit in. And so, oh, you finished the juice?
Yeah.
You want to show them? Look at that. That is fresh orange and grapefruit. Mm-hmm. Right from the tree. Can I taste it? Is it ready?
It's a little sour.
Oh, it's sour? Oh. No, it's not. It's perfect.
You like it?
Yeah, I don't like it super sweet. Oh my God, that's perfect. What are you talking about? It's sour.
I know most people aren't used to drinking stuff that's sour. So.
That's really good. Now it just has to be cold. And you have orange pulp in your eye.
The process.
It's a dirty job. Somebody has to do it. You know. And so eventually, you know, I just started, you know, like I said, going back to sleep, and just so I could fit in. But then the truth continued to call my name, and I kept coming back because, you know, there's so much information out here, and how can you continue to live your life the way that you're living with the information age? It's right in front of you. You see that how they're having us live is wrong and it's backwards, but yet we just stay because of comfortability. So I couldn't stay asleep. Like I kept waking back up because it was right there in my face. You see what I'm saying? And as a Sagittarian, my phone's about to die. As a Sagittarian, we live for the truth, you know. So I kept researching, and the truth just kept coming back to me. I'm sorry, y'all, my phone's about to die. And, you know, and I did, and I started, like, dressing differently, you know, just started doing things differently. And at one point, you know, the people that was in my life, they just fell in the suit. They was just like, okay, this is what she's doing. You know, she's vegan. And at the time, it was religion that had me, you know. And so after a while, because, you know, the religion that they teach us in Babylon, that ain't based on anything real and solid. That ain't divine knowledge of self. I ended up falling back asleep again. Like, you know. And so once I found the Honorable Chief Nature Boy, when he did a download about family as frequency, that's when it really opened my mind, you know, about where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. I was just like, wow, the whole time I was in Babylon, I knew something was off. The whole time, I couldn't articulate it. And that's why when you find the Honorable Chief Nature Boy's videos, you feel like, oh my gosh, finally someone is speaking my heart. Finally someone is saying what I've been trying to say. And so once I, you know, found him, you know, everything was history. And I ended up leaving because I realized I didn't want to no longer live in an environment that was not conducive for me. I no longer wanted to pretend. You see what I'm saying? I really wanted to really be myself. And I think we all want to truly be ourselves, and we want to discover what being ourselves truly is. And so when he gave me the opportunity to come home, I was like, to come home, not join him, but to come home, it was a no-brainer for me because I know my Babylon family. I know they were looking at me like, what the hell? What is she doing? What? You know, because I never mentioned anything about this to them because I couldn't articulate it myself. I knew what I wanted. I just didn't know how to articulate it. I knew I was trying to do it in Babylon the best way I knew how, you know. But once I found the Honorable Chief Nature Boy, that's when I just left. Like, I found him like within the end of March, and I ended up giving up everything in Babylon 3 weeks later and just left, you know, because I just knew that this was my family, this was it, you know. And so of course I left and went to Costa Rica, and everything was history from there. And it was, and I finally got on the right direction to my journey and found my purpose, because that's what ultimately we're looking for. We're looking to live in our purpose and to fulfill our purpose. And you want to, be with like-minded people. You want to be in your frequency of people that will help you do that and stay on the path, because every day is a choice. Every day you come back into this realm, you have to decide to do the right thing. You have to decide to be who you truly are, because you can either go back to your lower self or you can stay in your higher self. And because I found my tribe of like-minded entities, I found the energy that is conducive for me. That's why I'm able to stay and thrive. And that's what it's all about, finding the tribe that is going to bring you to your higher self, to your greatest self. You know what I mean? And make it very easy, and you want to be happy, find your happiness. You know what I mean? And since being here, because I'm trying to make a long story short, but but since being here, it's like I've learned so much about myself. I don't have to sacrifice anything about myself, to be here. If anything, we encourage each other to truly be yourself. Be honest with yourself. What is it that you love to do? I'm in this type of tribe. See, in Babylon, they try to make you a battery for their hidden agenda. They try to make you a battery for you to produce whatever they want you to produce in Babylon. They want you to be the cancer cell. That's what they're programming you to be, is the cancer cell, and to be the imbalance to the environment, to the earth. But here in Carbonation, we are the remedy. We are teaching each other how to be the balance, how to be, the cure for the earth. So that's the reason why we are constantly working on self at all times. We are constantly staying connected, to the earth, because we know that the earth is us. We know that we are a cell living in a cell in our body. So whatever we do to our environment, we are ultimately doing to ourselves. You see what I'm saying? And see, in Babylon, they know that too. They know whatever they're doing is affecting you. Because the higher powers that be, which is just you at your lower self, knows that if I do this, if I eat this way, or if I do this to the environment, it's going to affect me in this way. Because at the end of the day, all it is about control. Your lower self is going to control you, or you can be controlling your higher self. It just depends on what you want to do. But when your lower self, when you control, it's not helping you. It's actually hurting you. But as long as they keep you docile, keep you on them drugs, and keep you on that so-called comfort food, that soul food that is like closing you and insulating you, they can control you, manipulate you to do what they want you to do. But see, here in my higher self, in this tribe, it's completely different. Like, we want to thrive. We want to create. We want to be creative. We want to create music. We want to create a culture. We want to create a new way of being to show people this is what life is all about. Like right now, they're back there, talking. How often in your families in Babylon, y'all just sit around and just have a conversation and talk to each other about, about you being a better person, about your astrological chart? Does your family even know what a birth chart is? We're constantly working on ourselves. We're constantly working on music. We're studying each other's charts. We're getting the downloads from the Honorable Chief Nature Boy. We're going to the river. We're going to nature. We're cooking together. We all sleep together. Like, we go to bed. When I say sleep together, we go to the tents together. Like, when it's time to go to sleep, everybody goes to sleep. It's not this separation. It's what Babylon has taught us is to separate from ourselves. You know what I mean? Because a separation is an illusion. And once you start moving as a unit, you can think as a unit. You know what I'm saying? Because in Babylon, they separate us, and then they make us think we're individuals and we do whatever we want to do. And that's the reason why you see the chaos and you see the imbalance, because everybody is on a whole other different frequency, but they put us all in one melting pot. But everybody doesn't want to do the same thing. And if you don't want to do the same thing, go over there. If you want to be blue, go ahead and be blue. Let the red be the red, let the purple be the purple. But what happens is we don't want to stay in our own lanes. We want to be in other people's lanes, trying to tell them what they're doing is wrong, what they're doing is right. Well, you should just be focused on yourself and then put that frequency out. And those people that resonate with you will come to you, and you will live in harmony. But in Babylon, people are not living in harmony, and that's why you see, because they're just mixing and matching, ways of living, and it's just not right. It's just not right at all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What you doing? Huh? Peanuts. How was your I got a master teacher near me. He's always near me. How was your experience with your Babylon family? Like, cause you were doing your own thing and coming into the truth, with your family. Like, how did they adjust? Cause your background is, from Mexican descent. We'll say that's his character. And then I saw some of your old videos, and you were doing different things. Like, how did that fit in with the Mexican culture or the Hispanic culture? You got pump on your face.
Yeah, that's how you know it's good juice. Well, I never truly put myself in that culture.
Okay.
I never fit into any culture. I always felt like in between everything. Never Mexican enough for the Mexican, never American enough for the American people. I never felt like
really
I categorized myself as any of those. But so throughout my life, I started alienating myself and getting into my own things. So I think by the time it got to this point, it was already my Babylon family had already accepted that. They were like, okay, makes sense, he did this move, because I'd already done everything else, I had already changed the way I ate, changed the way I thought. I had already, even from early age, I was never at home, I was always at friends' houses. Mm-hmm. I was sleeping over at other people's houses. I was just roaming around kind of, That was just who I was. So by the time it got to this point, it was just made sense that I made the choices that I made. Mm-hmm. And Babylon families were supportive. They would never try to stop me. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I'm grateful for. That I don't have that resistance or insulation, because I guess maybe being a man is different. I feel like for the women it's harder, because they have more attachments with their Babylon family, because they're more protective.
Yeah.
But the man is I'm a full grown man. I'm leaving. Who's gonna tell you no? Your mom, Babylon mom might cry or try to don't leave, son. But at the end of the day, you're a man. You're on your own journey, just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. Everybody must pick up their own ankh and walk.
Yeah.
So that was simply my journey. It wasn't.
Well, how did your Babylon family respond when you start changing your diet? Because y'all know that Hispanic culture, they be having some good ass food with them nachos and empanadas and enchiladas, and then you was you went really extreme with it. You was a raw foodist. At one point, you was just drinking water, and that was it. How did they adjust to that?
I always came at it from a scientific perspective, and I think my Babylon family was open-minded to it, especially when you break it down. When you can break it down scientific, and the way I did it, even in Spanish, I would study in Spanish. I don't think the charger's working.
Oh. Can somebody give me a battery charger? This one's not working.
Battery pack. Battery pack.
All right, y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I would always break it down scientifically, and so I think when I gave them the facts in the way that I did, it made them more receptive to it. Even if they were willing to apply the information, they knew it was true, because it all made sense the way you broke it down,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to do that while I cut the bell peppers? Yeah, so your Babylon mom, she didn't feel a certain way when you started eating, when you stopped eating her food.
No, because by that time I wasn't living with her.
Oh, you wasn't?
She did feel a certain way because she would come to visit sometimes. She
Yeah.
would make food for other people that were in the house, and I wouldn't eat it. But before it was like my favorite food. Like that's how she knew to get to me with the food. You know, like
Yeah.
she wanted to get close to me. She's like, "Oh, I made your favorite food." You know, and I would like come over to enjoy that, and that's how she would kind of get close to me. But that didn't work anymore because I wasn't eating that food anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but I always broke it down so scientifically sound that it was never a debate. It was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's just hard. It's hard to change. That's what they would say, you know?
Yeah.
It's just hard because we're old and we're already programmed to eat this way. So I don't think there was ever any resistance as far as like trying to challenge the information because of the way it was presented, you know? Mm-hmm. But it definitely challenged them to like convicted them a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And that created some sort of like, it was already separation because when you're on your own path and you're on your own journey, that just naturally happens. If anybody who's not vibrating on the same frequencies, you start vibrating away from them.
That's true.
Because they're going to come over and you're going to be like, oh, I got a salad. They're going to be like, yeah, I don't want to eat that. I'm trying to eat burgers and shit. But you know what I did start doing?
What?
I started recreating the foods that I had grown up. And I was doing like raw vegan dishes, and I was trying to like emulate, and I was doing like a really good job. I was making like that sour cream I made, and I would make like cheese like with macadamia nuts, and I would just do all kinds of shit like that. And I made some pretty good dishes, like some very good dishes, just trying to emulate that, you know, because I realized. Like it's all alchemy, it's all food. You know, you just got to be able to mix it a certain way, spice it. It's mostly the spices and stuff.
Yeah.
The spices is really what makes things up. Like
that's true.
Like Mexican food has a lot of like cumin, paprika, a lot of spicy like peppers and stuff like that. And when you use that. It is just about getting the texture right, and nuts they create a lot of times they create like a texture. There's a good texture to create like a lot of the creaminess that you find in those foods, you know. So I started recreating those foods, so I never really felt at a loss of anything because nothing is lost, all is transformed, you know. You just got to learn how to alchemize things in your own way to get what you want.
Yeah. So what has been your experience being in this tribe? Now, like I said, we were in a tribe when we were in Babylon. We were in our lower self, tribe. We was in the Babylon tribe. Now we're in nature's tribe. So what has been your experience thus far being in the tribe of carbonation?
I would say the biggest thing that I experience is communication. No doubt about that.
Okay.
Communication, because back in Babylon, it was like I wasn't able to communicate with family like in this way that we are. Like,
really?
Like it just wasn't an open space for that. Like there was a lot of holding in things and a lot of holding on to things before it exploded. Then you would talk about it, but it wasn't like, oh, like I saw that you do this today. Like let's talk about that. Like I didn't like that. That didn't make me feel like there wasn't none of that communication, you know. So when I came here, it was like goddamn meeting. I was like, damn, like how much are we gonna talk, you know? But I realized that the basis of staying on the same frequency and being close to someone, you got to be able to communicate with them.
Yes.
You got to be able to talk and articulate your thoughts and share them with them so that you can have a better relationship, you know. So off the bat, that's the number one thing that difference between this tribe and the tribe that I was in, because it was like I always used to notice too, like I had neighbors for like 5 years and I didn't even know their name. I didn't even ever talk to them.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like how you have somebody right next to you and you never speak to them. But that's what Babylon does, because Babylon. It just creates little families that are all like against each other, and everybody's like talking shit and hating on each other, not really trying to help the next person out. It's just everybody's just looking out for themselves, you know. And then being a tribe is more about the family unit, and you got to think about other people. You got to think about the family, how your actions affect the family as a whole. So that's a whole different perspective coming from where we come from, because everybody's on their own solo mission in Babylon. Everybody's like, they got their job, they go to work. They're not worried about anybody else, really. And being in the tribe, it challenges you to be more thoughtful and conscious of your actions and how they affect the rest of the family. You know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm shopping. I'm listening and in the mode.
You had said something earlier that you said that when people like leave the house like at 18 years old, like they go off. But you know what I was thinking? Like that's so symbolic of the lower self, because it's like they go off to go colonize and create more of that. It's like a virus. Like, oh, you're old enough, and now they send it out, and that virus creates another family that's going to be alienated and doing the wrong thing. And then as soon as those kids go out, like it's like replicating, you know, and going out and colonizing the world with this idea, this mindset of separation and destruction. You know, like that's what it reminded me of, because. Like if you were in a tribe of people that you connected with and you vibrated with and you were on the same frequency, what purpose does you have to leave that place, you know? What purpose do you have to go anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
But I understand that that's a tactic, a strategy of the lower self to colonize the mindset all over the world, you know? By sending people out, like, oh, you're 18, you got to go out now into the world and do this, you know, do what we did. And then create your own family that'll do the same thing. And
then a lot of people probably look at how we live our life as like, I would not want to live with all these people. But my thing is, why not? Like, if you got people in your life that you could not share the same roof under, you are with the wrong people. You see what I'm saying? If you feel like you have to isolate yourself from the people in your life, then you need to change your circle, because you want the people to reflect you, because everybody is a reflection of you. So if you don't like the reflection that you see, therefore you don't like a part of yourself, or you need to elevate from that part of yourself and get around people that do reflect the part of yourself that you do like, you know, because here one thing I love about being in this tribe, especially as a woman, and you can also give your experience, you know, as, you know, a man as well being here, is that I don't feel like I have to do everything. You know, even though, you know, I have a direct, when I say direct, my husband, like in Babylon, they make you feel like as a husband and wife, like you are it, like I'm the woman in your life and I had to do everything. I gotta be your woman, your lover, your friend, and I gotta be the mother of your children, then I gotta cook and clean, and then even you gotta go to work. You gotta also be a provider as well. And that was the one thing in Babylon that I rejected. That's the reason why I didn't want to have children. I didn't even want to get married, because I felt like it was a burden for me to have to be Superwoman. You know, they even got it somehow, you know, called Superwoman. I didn't want to do that. I just thought it was too much, you know, on one person, you know, and I'm talking on the female's perspective. He's going to give them the man's perspective as far as like Babylon. I didn't want that, and that was the reason why I didn't want to have children, because I was just like, well, what about me? When am I going to be able to still take care of myself, but then also have a family? And it just seemed really overwhelming for me, and I really pushed away from that. But since being here at Carbonation and being in this tribe, we are interdependent here. Like I don't have to. If I'm cooking, someone else is cleaning. Someone else is tending to the house. And then if him and I were in a polygamous relationship in which what we support, then we could also have a helpmate in that way. As a woman, she could help me with the child, or she could be with him when he needs to have, you know, time, you know, with his woman. I might want to be doing something else, but he might be ready to have intimate time. Well, I want to do this. And so we had another sister wife, then she could be a part of that. I see the interdependent and living your life, you live in your tribe the way nature would, because we depend on each other dearly. And when I was in Babylon, I was very independent. I didn't want to depend on anyone. But then at the same time, that way of thinking was also hindering me, because then if I did get into a relationship, I felt overwhelmed. And so like right now, you know, I'm in here in the kitchen, you know, cutting up the vegetables. Then the next woman will come in here and she'll start on, you know, the rest of the meal. And then we got other people here that like to clean. You know, we got other women that here to clean. We got the males, they like to clean. Like, I don't feel like I I have to do everything, and then when the baby gets here, I'll be able to really focus on the baby, because then it's not going to be my responsibility to make sure that everybody in the tribe they eat, because now I'm going to be a mother, so they're going to make sure me and the baby have what we need, you know, and then I'm going to be transitioning into motherhood, so I'm going to be being the educator for the children. You know, me and Chiefess, we're going to start shifting the duties that we had now, and we're going to be shifting that to the children to allow them to thrive and grow, and then duplicate what it is that we are showing the world and teaching the world. So for you as with the masculine, the man's perspective, how has been in this tribe, like you see a difference with Babylon and him being here?
Yeah, in Babylon, it was a lot of resistance being who I am truly, and I noticed that it's just, for me personally, to fit in that world, like my astrological energy, it wasn't compatible with it. Like I just wasn't seeing success in the way that I thought it should be in that system, because the way I was thinking wasn't accepted or conducive to that system. Mm-hmm. So I always imagined or pictured that there was an alternative way of life, and I knew that if I could find this alternative way of life, that I could thrive there, because I came to the realization that we all have a natural environment, that there's something else, that there's an alternate system other than what we've been taught and raised to believe. Mm-hmm. that we need to be a part of, you know. So I knew that if I could find this for myself, that I would thrive there more so than in that system, because that system wasn't reflecting back to me what I wanted to become and what I wanted to be and embrace. Because in that system, it's as simple as having money could make the difference. If you're born into a wealthy family, that therefore you don't have to have morals and principles. You can treat people the way way you want to be treated, you know. And it wasn't what we were born into isn't like a level playing field in that world, because it has already been perpetuated for generation after generation, and there's somebody already been playing the game before you even logged into this realm. So it was a challenge trying to fit into that, knowing that you have great potential to be great in a natural environment. So I always sought to, I wonder if there's a natural environment for me. There's a place, a tribe of people who I can integrate into and show my true greatness in that environment, because it's not reflecting in this simulated alternate environment, you know. So coming here, it has been a great chance to show myself and to open parts of myself that I wasn't able to express in Babylon, you know. Mm-hmm. And just interacting with other people who are on the same frequency, other men who are also on that narrow path, who are seeking to improve every day, has been a great way to level up and grow in this existence.
So, because in Babylon, like you said,
they need to get to the back where the central cord is. They said they have to disarm. They need to disarm that.
What? Didn't they disarm what?
The extension cord plugged into the internet. And
so do they need to disconnect the internet again?
Yeah.
Okay. They about to disconnect the internet again. So I'm about to get off of here. Maybe I'll get back on later, because we had a really bad thunderstorm and it kind of messed up the internet. So we want to make sure that it's good. But maybe we'll get back on later. I'll probably get back on later because I feel like I want to do arts and crafts. I want to make jewelry. So if y'all want to be with me doing that, I wanted to ask questions and stuff. Answer questions, but I got to get off here because we really need to get this done. But it was awesome, talking with y'all. But I'll probably be on later, so check out for that next live, okay? I love myself. And I want to thank the Honorable Chief Nature Boy for allowing me this space to be creative and to communicate and articulate, what it is to be human. All right.